The confetti had barely settled at the Edgbaston Priory Club. Alexandra Eala had just lifted her first WTA trophy, the Birmingham Classic crown, and the Philippines was still celebrating into the early hours of the morning. But what happened next, just 48 hours after her historic victory, made the tennis world stop and stare. An announcement came from the Birmingham Open organizers, not a routine statement, not a thank you note to sponsors, something that has never happened before in the history of professional tennis. Something that left Alex Eala herself completely speechless. The announcement was so unexpected, so unprecedented, that when Eala heard the news, she reportedly asked her coach, "Is this a joke? Are they serious?" They were serious, and what they revealed has sent shockwaves through the WTA Tour, sparked heated debates among tennis analysts, and turned a routine post-tournament press conference into one of the most emotional moments of Eala's young career. Today on TopSpin, we are breaking down exactly what the Birmingham Open announced, why nobody saw it coming, how Alex Eala reacted when she found out, and what this means for the future of women's tennis. Buckle up, because this story is going to surprise you. Subscribe to TopSpin for non-stop tennis coverage, breaking announcements, and the stories behind the headlines delivered straight to your feed. To understand why this announcement is such a big deal, you need to know what the Birmingham Open is. The Birmingham Open, officially known as the Rothesay Classic Birmingham, is a WTA 250 grass court tournament held every June at the Edgbaston Priory Club. It has been a staple on the women's tennis calendar since 1982. Past champions include legends like Billie Jean King, Martina Navratilova, Maria Sharapova, and most recently, Alex Eala herself. The tournament is prestigious, but it is not a Grand Slam. It is not even a WTA 1000 event. It is, by tennis standards, a mid-level tournament. So when the tournament organizers called a press conference for Monday, June 23, 2026, just 2 days after Eala's victory, most people assumed it would be a routine event, perhaps a sponsorship announcement, perhaps a schedule change for next year, perhaps a tribute to a retiring player. Nobody was prepared for what came next. The press conference began at 10 a.m. local time. Patrick Hughes, the tournament director, stood behind a podium. The room was half full, a few local journalists, a couple of photographers, one representative from the WTA. Hughes cleared his throat and began to speak, quote, "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming on short notice. We have an announcement that we believe will be of great interest to the tennis community." End quote. Then he paused, looked down at his notes, and continued, quote, "The Birmingham Open has a long and proud history, but we have always believed that history should not just be preserved, it should be made. And today, we are announcing that we will be making history." End quote. Then came the bombshell. Hughes announced that the Birmingham Open would be immediately upgraded from a WTA 250 event to a WTA 500 event, effective from the 2027 season. But that was not the shocking part. The shocking part came next. He announced that the tournament would be renamed. From 2027 onward, the tournament would officially be called the Alex Eala Birmingham Open. Yes, you heard that correctly. A WTA tournament named after an active player, a 21-year-old active player. A player who had just won her first title at that very tournament, on that very court, just 48 hours earlier. The room fell silent. Then someone gasped. Then cameras started flashing. Then reporters began shouting questions all at once. Hughes raised his hand for calm. Quote, "This is not a decision we made lightly. Alexandra Eala represents everything we want this tournament to stand for: resilience, grace, excellence, and the ability to inspire millions. We believe that naming this tournament after her will inspire future generations of tennis players, not just in the Philippines, but around the world." End quote. The announcement spread like wildfire. Within minutes, the news was on every major tennis website. Within an hour, it was trending on Twitter globally. Within 2 hours, Alex Eala's phone had exploded with messages from friends, family, fans, and fellow players. But Eala herself had not yet commented. She was in London preparing for Wimbledon when she heard the news. Her coach walked into her hotel room, showed her the announcement on his phone, and watched as Eala's face went from confusion to disbelief to tears. She reportedly said, "Is this a joke? Are they serious?" End quote. When her coach confirmed that it was real, Eala sat down on a bed and cried. Not sad tears, not even happy tears, overwhelmed tears. She later told a friend, "I have a tournament named after me. I am 21 years old. This does not feel real." Let us be very clear about something. What the Birmingham Open did is unprecedented. In the history of professional tennis, no active player has ever had a WTA or ATP tournament named after them. Not Roger Federer, not Serena Williams, not Rafael Nadal, not Novak Djokovic, not even legends like Steffi Graf or Martina Navratilova had tournaments named after them while they were still competing. There are tournaments named after retired legends, the Billie Jean King Cup, the Juan Martín del Potro Arena in Buenos Aires, the Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne. But an active player? A 21-year-old who has won one WTA title? This has never happened before, and that is why the tennis world is divided. The reaction from players has been overwhelmingly positive, but not universally so. Let us start with the support. Coco Gauff, who is close friends with Eala, posted on Instagram, quote, "This is so well-deserved. Alex is a champion on and off the court. Couldn't happen to a better person." End quote. Francis Tiafoe tweeted, quote, "Wait, they named a whole tournament after her? That's crazy. That's legendary. Respect." End quote. Even Iga Świątek, the world #1, who rarely comments on other players' achievements, gave a brief statement to Polish media. Quote, "I do not know Alex personally, but I have seen her play. She has a bright future. This is a beautiful gesture from Birmingham." End quote. The WTA itself released an official statement calling the decision, quote, "a testament to the growing global appeal of women's tennis and the power of athletes to inspire beyond the court." End quote. But there has also been criticism. Some tennis purists argue that naming a tournament after an active player is premature, even disrespectful to past champions. A well-known tennis historian writing for The Telegraph said, quote, "Alex Eala is a talented player, but she has won one WTA title. One. There are players with 20, 30, 50 titles who never received this honor. Birmingham is setting a dangerous precedent." End quote. A former men's player, who asked not to be named, told a podcast, quote, "This is woke nonsense. They are doing it because she is from the Philippines and they want to tap into that market. It has nothing to do with tennis." End quote. Even some Filipino fans have expressed discomfort. A comment on a popular tennis forum read, quote, "I love Alex, but this feels too much too soon. Let her win more titles first. Let her earn it." End quote. The Birmingham tournament director, Patrick Hughes, responded to the criticism in a follow-up interview with the BBC. Quote, "We understand that this decision is unconventional, but we believe that tennis has been too conservative for too long. We are not comparing Alex to Steffi or Serena. We are honoring what Alex represents: hope, resilience, and the power of sport to bring people together. If that offends some people, we accept that, but we stand by our decision." Whether you agree with the decision or not, one thing is clear: the Birmingham Open announcement has sparked a conversation about how tennis honors its players, who deserves recognition, and what legacy really means. 2 days after the announcement, on Wednesday, June 25, 2026, Alexandra Eala finally addressed the media. She had been silent for 48 hours, processing the news, talking to her family, and deciding what she wanted to say. The press conference was held at the All England Club in Wimbledon, where Eala was practicing for her first-round match. The room was packed. Journalists from every major tennis publication were there. Cameras from Philippine news networks lined the back wall. Eala walked in wearing a simple white practice shirt and black leggings. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She looked nervous, which was unusual for her. She sat down, adjusted the microphone, and began to speak. Quote, "First of all, I want to thank the Birmingham Open organizers, Patrick Hughes and his team. This is an honor that I never expected, I never dreamed of. When my coach showed me the announcement, I thought he was playing a prank on me. I actually asked him 3 times if it was real." End quote. She paused, took a breath, and continued. Quote, "I am 21 years old. I have won one WTA title. One. There are players on this tour who have won 10, 20, 30 titles, players who have achieved so much more than I have, and I want to be very clear about something. I do not believe I am more deserving than them. I do not believe I have earned this honor more than they have." End quote. Then she said something that made the room go silent. Quote, "But here's what I have learned over the past few weeks. Sometimes an honor is not about what you have done. Sometimes it is about what you represent. And I represent a nation of over 100 million people who have never had a tennis champion before. I represent every kid who has ever been told they're too small, too poor, too far away to make it. I represent every overseas Filipino worker who wakes up at 3 a.m. to watch me play because it makes them feel closer to home." End quote. Her voice cracked. She paused. A journalist in the front row handed her a tissue. She wiped her eyes and continued. Quote, "So I will accept this honor, not because I think I have earned it, but because I think the Philippines has earned it. The Filipino people have waited so long for a moment like this, and if my name on a tournament can bring them joy, can inspire young girls to pick up a racket, can make someone feel proud to be Filipino, then I will carry that name with pride." End quote. Then she addressed the critics directly. Quote, To the people who say this is too much too soon, I hear you, and you might be right, but here is the thing. I am not going to let this honor change who I am. I am still the same Alex who lost in the first round of the French Open 3 weeks ago. I am still the same Alex who cried in a locker room because I thought I had let my country down. I am still the same Alex who gets nervous before matches and doubts herself and makes mistakes. This tournament name does not make me a legend. It makes me responsible to work harder, to improve, to become the player that this honor suggests I can be." End quote. She stood up, bowed her head slightly, and said, quote, "Thank you to Birmingham. Thank you to the Philippines. And thank you to everyone who has believed in me. I will not let you down." End quote. She walked out of the room to a standing ovation. Several journalists were crying. Even the security guard at the door had tears in his eyes.
The Alex Eala Birmingham Open announcement has opened up a much larger conversation about how tennis recognizes its players. For decades, tennis has been slow to honor active athletes. The thinking has always been that you wait until a player retires, wait until their career is complete before you name a tournament or a stadium after them. But is that the right approach? Should we wait until legends are old and gray before we celebrate them? Or should we honor them while they are still playing, still inspiring, still making history? There are arguments on both sides. Those who support the traditional approach argue that career achievements should be complete before permanent honors are given. They point to examples like Arthur Ashe Stadium, which was named after Ashe after his retirement and subsequent death, or the Margaret Court Arena, named after Court decades after her playing career ended. They argue that naming a tournament after an active player creates pressure, raises expectations, and could even lead to embarrassment if the player's career does not live up to the honor. On the other hand, supporters of the Birmingham decision argue that tennis needs to modernize. They point to other sports like basketball and soccer, where active players regularly have stadiums, arenas, and tournaments named after them. LeBron James has a school named after him. Messi has a museum. Cristiano Ronaldo has an airport. Why should tennis be different? The WTA has not taken an official position on the Birmingham decision, but privately, sources say the organization is intrigued. A WTA spokesperson told the Tennis Reporter, quote, "We are watching this closely. If the Birmingham experiment is successful, it could open the door for other tournaments to honor active players in meaningful ways." End quote. What would success look like? Increased ticket sales, higher TV ratings, more sponsorship revenue, or simply a sense that the tennis community embraces the decision rather than rejects it? Only time will tell. For Alex Eala herself, the immediate impact is clear. She is now, without question, the biggest name in Philippine sports history. Her face is everywhere in Manila, on billboards, on television, on the front page of every newspaper. She has been invited to throw the ceremonial first pitch at a baseball game in Tokyo, to appear on a talk show in London, and to attend a state dinner in Manila when she returns home. The pressure is immense. But if there is one thing Eala has proven over the past month, it is that she handles pressure better than almost anyone her age.
The press conference is over. The tears have dried. The headlines have been written. Now Alexandra Eala has to play tennis. Wimbledon begins in just 4 days, and Eala is not just playing for herself anymore. She is playing for every person who will walk into the Alex Eala Birmingham Open in 2027 and feel inspired. She is playing for the little girl in Manila who will see her name on a tournament and believe that anything is possible. She is playing for the legacy that Birmingham has given her, a legacy she never asked for but has chosen to embrace. Eala's first-round opponent at Wimbledon has not yet been drawn, but whoever it is, they will be facing a different Alex Eala than the one who lost in the first round at Roland Garros. The Birmingham title has changed something in her. Not her technique, not her fitness, her belief. She now knows, deep in her bones, that she can win, not just against lower-ranked players, against anyone. She has beaten Sakari, Noskara, Stevens, and Navarro. These are not nobodies, these are established stars, and Eala beat them all. But Wimbledon is a different beast. The grass at the All England Club is slicker, faster, and more unpredictable than at Birmingham. The crowds are larger, the pressure is higher, and the stakes are enormous. Eala's goal, as she told reporters at her press conference, is simple. Quote, "I want to win my first match. I have never done that at Wimbledon. If I can do that, then we will see what happens." End quote. That is the right mindset. Focus on the immediate. Do not get ahead of yourself. One match at a time. Looking beyond Wimbledon, the second half of 2026 is packed with opportunities. The U.S. Open Series begins in late July, the Canadian Open in Toronto, the Cincinnati Open, and then the U.S. Open in New York, where Eala won her first Grand Slam main draw match just last year. She is now ranked world number 29. If she can win a few matches at Wimbledon and perform well in the North American hardcourt season, she could crack the top 20 by the end of the year. That would be an extraordinary achievement for someone who was ranked outside the top 50 just 12 months ago. But rankings and titles are not the only thing driving Eala anymore. She is now carrying something heavier: the name on a tournament, the hopes of a nation, the responsibility of being a symbol. It is a lot for a 21-year-old to carry, but if anyone can handle it, it is Alexandra Eala. She has already shown us that she can turn heartbreak into fuel, that she can respond to hate with grace, and that she can rise to the occasion when the world is watching. The Birmingham Open announcement was unexpected, unprecedented, and controversial, but for Alex Eala, it is also an opportunity to prove that she deserves the honor. Not today, not tomorrow, but over the course of a career that is only just beginning. So here is where we leave you. The confetti has been swept away. The trophy has been packed for transport to Spain. The new tournament signs are being printed. And Alexandra Eala is back on the practice court, hitting forehands under the London sun, preparing for the biggest challenge of her young career. The world is watching, the Philippines is praying, and Alex Eala is ready. Subscribe to TopSpin for non-stop tennis coverage, breaking announcements, and the stories behind the headlines delivered straight to your feed.